Hello dear viewer, you are most welcome to this lesson. Today we are going to begin our primary 7 work, that is third term work. I do believe you have your workbook with you. If you do not have it yet, please you can get a copy from school because those booklets are available. So today, without wasting any time, we are going to begin from our page 1 of our workbook, and this page 1 gives us the first topic that we are going to be discussing in this term, and that is about the major economic resources of Africa. In your workbook, that word "of" misses "o", so you kindly bear with me and you add it there so that you can correct it. It is a typing error. Here, we are going to begin understanding what we call a resource, because we are going to be looking at resources. So we are going to be looking at what we call a resource, and this makes me remember that in primary 6 we talked about natural resources. We talked about resources in general, and then in primary 5, that is term 1, ending term 1, the last topic in P5, we talk about resources in Uganda. Now in P6 we talked about resources in primary 5 we talked about natural resources in Uganda. In P6 you talked about resources in East Africa. Now also here we are going to begin by defining what we call a resource. So our first sub-heading that we are going to have, which will come in a question form, is what is a resource? That is our subheading, which is in a question form, which means we are going to begin defining a resource, and we shall say a resource is anything in the environment. We can have a lot of words to use. We can say a resource is a substance in the environment. We can say a resource is a component of the environment. Or we can say anything in the environment is anything in the environment that man uses to meet his needs. That is how we are going to define a resource. A resource is anything in the environment that man uses to meet his needs. If we didn't want to say to meet his needs, we would say to satisfy his needs. All that can also be used as another version for us to mean what we have on the board. Therefore, we are going to look at the examples of resources that we have in Africa. In primary 6 we talked about the natural resources, and then we talked about them categorized into two. That is renewable resources. Remember, those are the ones we say they are the things that man uses in the environment to meet his needs, and they exist on their own and they are replaceable. And then when we talked about non-renewable, meaning the other ones are the irreplaceable ones. They are the components of the environment that that are not renewable, or that are not replaced once they are used up. We looked at those ones. Now here we are going to look at the examples of resources we have in Africa in general. Examples of resources. Now in our workbook we have resources given to us. One, we have what we call land. And remember, when we were in primary 5, primary 6, we said land is considered as the major natural resource. It's the main one, because we say that almost every other resource is found on land, as we shall be looking at that. And then we also have other resources like human labor. We need human labor to help us. We shall look at animals as resources. We shall be looking at vegetation as resources. We shall be looking at our climate as resources. We shall also be looking at water bodies as resources. They are also things, they are also components in our environment that we use to meet our needs. This in your book you will find answers like forests. Now the forests will come under this we call vegetation. It's better we address them as forests. Then we shall also be having what we call the animals. That's where we have put wildlife. Of course, the animals we shall be generalizing, both those that are kept at home and those that live in their natural habitats. We shall be calling them wild animals. And then we have finally energy resources. We shall also be coming to look at that. One, we are going to begin by looking at the first that we have written, and that is land. So that is going to be our subheading. We have it on that. Now, land, like I have said, is considered as the major natural resource on Earth. This is the major natural resource. It's the major natural resource. And I say, if a question is asking you, why do we consider, or why do we take land as the major natural resource? We say this is because all other resources, this is because we can say most of the resources are found on it, can be on it or in it. That is what we have. Of course, we can have those which are on, we can have those which are in the land down there. So all that we have covered it here. We are saying land is the major natural resource. This is because most of the resources are found on it. Now, when we come to look at this, we talk of human labor. Here we are looking at human beings. We find human beings on land. We are having animals moving on land. We have vegetation growing on land. You cannot find the vegetation which grows in the space. No. We shall have a climate that can be found. And then we have water bodies also found on land. We shall be having energy resources like minerals. We have talked about energy resources. Let us break it in the simple understanding, and we call them minerals. We'll find the minerals are mined on land. That's why we take land as the major resources. We shall be having air. We have not put air here. It is also a natural resource. We need it. We need air for very many ways, for very many uses. We need to breathe it in. Remember, that one is there. We use this air when we are going to winnow. That is in winnowing. I hope you remember that. So that is also, you'll find that air can also be on land, in the soil. I'm sure you must have done those experiments in P3, P4 down there to verify that soil has air. So that one makes us to understand that. Therefore, we are now going to look at the general uses of land. Since it is our major natural resource, how or what do people use land for? Here we are going to have a number of answers. What do you think, according to you who is listening to me, what do you think land can be used for? So you will find that if you are really to think about it, you can be having a number of answers. Number one, you will find that people can grow crops on land. People can grow crops on land. On land. That is our first answer. Our second answer, land can be sold. Someone has his plot of land and can sell it and he gets his money. So that there we can say land can be sold. Land can be sold for income. This is now money that the person gets. Not only that, land provides a space for grazing animals. Land provides a space for grazing animals. You will find that those cattle keepers and any other person having animals, these animals are raised on land. They will be on the land eating the vegetation which is on land. You cannot find the animals standing in the air that they are eating. What will they be eating and how will they be able to stand? So you will find that grazing activities are done on land. Not only this, land provides space. Land provides space for burying the dead. For burial. We can simply say for burial. Which means when we lose our beloved ones in the African setting, you will find that when someone dies, that person is supposed to be buried. That is in the soil. So they dig the soil, they dig a pit, and then the person is laid there to rest. So that is another importance of land. That's why we are saying it provides space for burying the dead. Not only that, land also provides space for construction. Provides space for construction. And when we now talk about construction, we look at a number of ways, a number of areas. One, we can have construction of houses. Of course, this one can be for settlement. We can have construction of industries. Can also be another. And then we shall also have construction of roads. So all these fall under what we call construction. So land provides space for that. And then we also need to note, we talked about minerals found on land, or found in the land, or underground. So you will find that we can also have minerals underground. Therefore, we can say land is used for mining. Land is used for mining. This is now the extraction of minerals from underground. We shall be coming to look at mining in depth. Then we also have land used for brick making. That is what we can be adding as our last point. And of course, we can also be having other reasons. But now we can be ending at those ones because of time. Next is we are going to be looking at the challenges or the problems facing land. Problems facing land. Now, here we are going to look at what challenges or what happens such that land gets spoiled. Of course, that is what we talked about in the previous classes as land degradation. That is lowering the quality of land. What brings that? One, we are having the problem that we call soil erosion. Now, soil erosion, as we all know, is defined as the washing away of that top fertile soil by erosion agents. And of course, you will find that when this one happens, the land gets, the land loses its fertility. That is soil erosion. Next, we have what we call soil exhaustion. Soil exhaustion, and this exhaustion sometimes comes as a result of overusing land. That is what brings soil exhaustion. This is when land is overused, like continuous using of land without allowing it to rest. It makes the land to become tired. Just like us, even human beings, will find that if you are to work from maybe morning up to maybe up to around lunchtime without you resting, you will feel tired, you will feel weak. So it means that even land, when people keep on using that land, maybe growing crops year after year, season after season, without allowing that land to rest, that is what we call bush following. You will find that the land becomes tired, and you will find that time will come when people grow their crops, the land will not be able to bring out enough or good yields. Why? It's because the land is tired of producing or of bearing the vegetation. Next, the next problem we have is what we call land pollution. Land pollution. Pollution is simply defined as the addition of harmful materials to the environment. The addition of toxic substances to an area, which means here we are looking at sometimes we have people dumping garbage, waste materials on land anyhow. That's what we call improper dumping, or dumping in a way which is not whereby people not care. And as a result, you will find that the land will get contaminated and will get spoiled. Next is we have what we call bush burning. Bush burning. Bush burning simply means setting fire to burn a bush. And of course we note that this fire which will burn the bush will clear the vegetation in that area. And once the vegetation is removed in an area, it exposes this land to erosion agents, of which it will be a problem. Not only this, we also have people who carry out overgrazing. Overgrazing. You'll find looking after cattle on the same piece of land, too many animals being grazed on the same piece of land. At the end of it, all the animals will eat up all the vegetation and the area remains bare, thereby being exposed to erosion agents, and the land will be affected. And other poor farming methods like monocropping, we have this, then we have this like continuous using of land without allowing it to rest, as we have already mentioned. So all these problems will make the land in an area to lose its fertility, thereby the land fails to perform well or to bear what it was supposed to. We go to page 2. Our page number 2 gives us what we call labor. Now, in labor, we are going now to look at labor, and we find labor here. This is our second one. We are done with the land. The other thing that we were to look at would be how to conserve land, of which when we come to that, we shall be coming back to look at this. How should we conserve? By avoiding soil erosion, by encouraging proper dumping of waste products, by stopping bush burning, practicing good farming methods like bush following, we have avoiding overgrazing, practicing afforestation, then we have reforestation, agroforestry, all those ones. I believe as a candidate, we now know how to define all those terms. Agroforestry, reforestation, forestation, bush following, all those are good farming methods that can conserve the land. So that one is something that we must have even understood in the previous classes. We are going to the second resource, and we are looking at labor. And the labor we were looking at here was human labor. That is the one we have here. Now, labor, we are now referring to the work which is done by human beings. That's what we are looking at here. And of which we need to note that this labor is categorized into skilled labor, semi-skilled, and then we have unskilled labor. We mainly take two, that is skilled labor and unskilled labor, whereby we shall be saying that skilled labor deals with people who have that skill, people who are trained to do that work. They provide a skilled labor. Then the ones who did not go for training to acquire that knowledge are the ones that provide what we call manual work. That is the one now that needs no papers. It now deals with people providing or doing what we call casual work, the laborers, casual laborers. That is what forms what we call the unskilled labor. We have the importance of human work in our workbooks. One, we are saying the humans help. Human beings help us to do work. Of course, here we are looking at helping us to do work. As I've said, work can be done by those who have the skill, or can be done by those who do not have the skill about it. Those who have the skill are the ones who do work like operating machinery. You find they went to school to train to do that work. It also involves people like as the teachers. We are teaching you because we were also trained to teach you. So we have the skill of teaching you. So you'll find that the teachers provide what we call skilled labor service. And then also when you look at people like the doctors, of course, remember they also go for training. So such a service provided by such people who trained are the ones that we call, that's the one we call skilled labor. And then also you will find that it enables people to carry out farming. Farming can be done using skills or no skills. It depends on how it is done. If it is done on a large scale requiring the use of machinery, that is what we call mechanized farming. It will require some skills. And if it is not like these peasant farmers using simple tools like the hoes, pangas, whatever, those ones can be doing it out of what we call unskilled labor. Then also, human labor can also be used to train other people. For example, when you go to the people who do like technical jobs, like jobs that require a skill, like carpentry, building, you'll find that those people are trained. Therefore, there are people who train them. So that is another importance or another advantage of people of skilled labor or human labor. It helps in training other people who will come to also help. And then also we have it helping in providing security. Remember, it is the human beings who join the army, providing or becoming the soldiers. They become the askaris. Those are the ones we call the private security guards. They become the police. Thereby, these people will be able to provide security to a country. And all that is what we are looking at. We are having ways of improving on our labor in Africa. Remember, Africa is a continent which is having a challenge of skilled labor. You will find that sometimes there can be maybe machinery to be operated, but now some people do not have the labor. We shall be coming to look at that under mining. You will find that how should we improve on the human labor. Number one, we are saying we should have the training of more other personnel. Training of other people who will be able to take up the different positions, and they will be doing this work. Then too, we have establishing vocational institutions. these are places where people will be given these skills, or will be trained on how to have these skills that they will be able to come out with. We have a question which is asking us, in which one way has this unskilled labor hindered the development of Africa? Meaning, how has it affected Africa from developing? What we are looking at is unskilled labor, meaning people not having the skills of doing a given work or a particular kind of job. So you'll find that it has affected Africa in a number of ways. One, it has resulted in what we call unemployment. Because like I told you, the industry, the machinery can be there, but someone does not know how to operate, and this becomes a problem. Therefore, the person remains unemployed, and that is one of the reasons as to why you will find that there are very many people in Africa who are not employed. Next is that Africa has now failed to exploit her resources. For example, we are looking at resources like minerals. And with minerals, with mining, there is a skill needed, the skill of extracting that mineral from underground. So you will find that sometimes people in Africa or the African countries do not have enough skills that they can use to extract the minerals. And this has brought what we call failure to exploit the resources in the African countries. Then it has also promoted on it has also brought about depending on foreign countries now for assistance. Remember, in Africa, most of the countries are poor, let me say. So you'll find that these countries depend on other powerful countries, other rich countries for assistance, for aid. They can send them some money so that they can somehow develop. It's because they are unable to develop their own economies. So that is what brings about that. Then it has also caused low industrial development, meaning that people who are to work in the industries are no more. They are not there, let me say. Therefore, the industrial development or the setting up of industries in an area has gone low, or it has remained down. That is another danger of having what we call unskilled labor. And then, of course, now when things go like that, you will find that a country will end up hiring other people who have the skills from other countries, and this will become very expensive to pay such people. That is another danger of having unskilled labor in a country. We are moving to another resource, and we are going to look at let us talk about the minerals that will follow labor. We are going to look at what we call the minerals. Now, our minerals, we find this on page still 2, whereby we begin defining a mineral. We are saying the minerals, or a mineral is a chemical substance that makes up the earth crust. A chemical substance which makes up the earth crust or the rock of the earth. That is what we are meaning. Therefore, we are going to have minerals grouped into 3 types. We are having 3 types of minerals. One, we are going to have what we call, we shall begin with non-metallic minerals. Non-metallic minerals. We shall have metallic minerals. And then we shall finally have what we call fuel minerals. Now, what we call the non-metallic minerals, in our books, we are given that these are minerals that require simple melting, simple heating for them to melt. They do not require a lot of heating, strong heating, whatever, so that these minerals can melt. Of course, remember, for this mineral to be processed, they have to undergo what we call melting. That is to change it such that it can be able to make other products. So we have the examples of such minerals that require simple heating,
for them to melt. We have minerals like salt, and then we have also clay. We have minerals like phosphates, and then we have limestone. Remember, the limestone is the one that we use for making cement. And then also we have sand in that very line, though it's missing in your book. You can add sand as an example of a non-metallic mineral. And then we have minerals which require strong heating for them to melt. They are the ones we are calling metallic minerals. They require strong heating for them to melt. That is where we are going to have minerals like tin ore, copper, lead, mercury, silver, gold, zinc. We have manganese, iron, tungsten, and we have cobalt ore. All those are minerals which require strong heating for them to melt. Lastly, the ones we call fuel minerals, that we are saying these are minerals that produce heat when they are burnt. Of course, we have others like natural gas, oil, ignite, and we have coal. These are the ones that require burning for them to produce energy. For that, we shall move to what we call mining, which is on that very page, a subheading, mining, that we are going to begin by defining, though we are not having the definition there because it is not new to a mining is not new to a candidate class. It's given already. Mining is the getting of minerals, the getting of minerals from, sometimes we say from underground. The getting of minerals from underground. This getting is the one that we can call extraction. So we can simply also say mining is the extraction of minerals from underground or from where they exist. That one can also be another way of saying, of defining mining. Therefore, we are going to look at the types of mining or ways or types of mining, let me say. These types of mining, we are going to have them grouped under one. We shall have traditional mining, traditional methods of mining, or the traditional type. And then we shall have the modern types, of course, giving us the modern methods of mining. So these are the two that we are going to be looking at. The first one we are given, that is open cast mining. Open cast mining falls under what we call the traditional mining. You will find that this is the type of mining which involves digging a large surface, and it is used for extracting minerals which are on the surface of the earth. They are up, not the minerals which are deep down the earth's surface. I mean, deep down underground. No, we get the minerals which are on the surface of the earth, and you will find that this one requires the use of simple tools. You'll find people can even do it manually. People dig a hole using the hose, and then they get the mineral. We have the advantages of this kind of mining. Number one, we are saying it is cheap. It is cheap to be conducted, and then it is safe for the miners, meaning the miners cannot have the risk of being buried in the mines in the case of the mine collapsing. So that is what we are having there as being safe, since the mines may not collapse. And then we have the other one that we call underground mining, that we call deep shaft mining. This one falls under what we call the modern type or modern mining. Here we are saying this is very expensive and complex. It's a very expensive and complex type of mining, and it's used to get the minerals which are down there. We have the rocks broken
by use of explosives so that they reach where the mineral is. We are having the dangers of this kind of mining, and the first one says it is dangerous to people's health. Remember, right away from we are saying the mines can collapse, meaning people's lives are at a risk. Those ones who go deep down there now. And then also these explosives used, you'll find that they may be toxic. The gases from those explosives can be toxic to our health. So that is what makes it dangerous. And then also you'll find that the mines built or dug sometimes can end up being flooded, more so during the rainy season, and that becomes a challenge. We are having the subheading which gives us the importance of mining. How is mining important to a country? And of course here we are going to look at two things. Mining being important to a country, that is the government, at the same time to the locals, to the people in that area. Now, when mining is in an area, one thing we need to notice that people are going to be called upon to go and give a helping hand. Like we were talking about digging the surface, digging a hole, that is in open cast mining, which means people are needed now to go and dig, and at the end of the day, these people are given their money to go and spend. Therefore, that mining has provided what we call employment opportunities to the people. Number two, mining is a source of raw materials. It is a way of getting a raw material. We must have understood what we mean by a raw material. An item which is used to make another item. That is the simple way I can bring it out. Or an item used to make a finished good. An item which can be turned into other products. For example, in primary 4, 5, 6, we talked about items like tobacco. We said tobacco is a raw material which can be changed into cigarettes. So the cigarettes become what we call finished goods, whereas the tobacco is looked at as a raw material. We also looked at other raw materials like cotton. We said cotton is used to make clothes, which means cotton is a raw material and the clothes become the finished products. We look at others like sugarcane, a raw material being used to make sugar. So such things are the ones we are looking at here. So we shall find that some of these raw materials mined can become, some of these minerals which are mined can become the raw materials which are then used to make other products. An example, you will find that when they mine a mineral like limestone, what will be used? What will this limestone be used for? You will find that this limestone will be used to make cement, which means because of mining this limestone, it has now become a raw material which has been used to make a cement. We have other products like copper. The copper which is mined can be used for making other products like the bullets, and that they are used like some coins and other products. Copper wires, we have them, and very many other products. The gold which can be mined can be used for making some coins also. This gold can be used for making gold medals, the trophies. So you see such things. So this mining makes us understand that it is a source of getting raw materials which can be used for making other products. Then next we are saying the mining companies pay money to the government, which of course raises what we call the government revenue. Remember right away from P5 we understood that the major source of government revenue is taxation, which means the government can tax these companies, or these companies pay some money to the government in form of tax, and this becomes and this helps the government raise its revenue. Then next we have this mining leading to the development of what we call infrastructure. For example, we have things like roads. You'll find that because of mining,
taking place in an area, they are now going to have a good road network which joins or which leads to that mining area, and this brings the infrastructural development in that area. However, we also need to note that mining is also comes with its problems. So we shall also be able to look at the dangers or the problems associated with mining. Number one, we say that these miners can end up being buried in the mines. Most of the other ones who are having what we call deep shaft mining, mines can collapse and they kill people. Number two, mining destroys. Remember, we looked at how land, problems facing land, and we talked about mining as one of them. We said, on the importance of land, we said land is used for mining, which means it can become even a problem here. So when mining takes place, imagine they are going to get a mineral underground, which means there is no way people are going just to send their hand and they pull out the mineral. No, it involves digging that area. For example, we're looking at the open cast method or open cast mining, which we said it involves digging a large hole, which means as people are digging the hole, they first remove the vegetation which is in that area. You first begin by cutting the grass or whatever, the trees, if the trees are in that area and they are saying the mineral is down, there is no way you are going to begin without you removing the vegetation first. So we shall say mining spoils the natural beauty of an area, or it leads to land degradation, or you can simply say it spoils the environment in an area. Secondly, sometimes you will find that when the mining has been, like if a mineral has been discovered in an area, you will find that people were settled in that area. And before then, of course, those people were the owners of that area. Now that the mining, the mineral has been discovered, and they are now supposed to bring the machines to dig out that mineral, you will find that the people who are in that area are supposed to be sent away. That is what we call displacement of people. So we can simply bring our point saying mining leads to the displacement of people. Displacement, which means people will be sent away to other areas. Then they begin now carrying out mining. And of course, remember that since these people are going to use machines, you will find that these machines are going to, the machines make noise as they are being operated. They cannot just be quiet, just digging whatever. You find these machines make noise, they release smoke into the atmosphere. All that is what we call pollution. The noise they make brings out what we call noise pollution. And then now the smoke, of course, that one now is what we term as air pollution. So all these are the bad effects of mining. It leads to pollution in an area, which will then affect the people's health in that area. So that is what we need to note. Also note as a candidate that we have the discovery of crude oil from the Albertine region, that is around Lake Albert, that's around in Bunyoro sub-region, and we have mining taking place there, that is extracting that crude oil in Uganda. You need to be aware of that, because tomorrow a question will ask you which mineral was discovered in the Albertine region. Some of us, when we hear of Albertine, we get maybe confused, but this Albertine comes from the word Albert, which means we are looking at that area around Lake Albert, where I have said crude oil was developed. We are going to look at on page, this should have been page 4. On page 4, we have got the problems which are faced by the mining industries. Much as we have talked about problems that mining brings, we are also going to look at the problems that the mining industry is facing. People who carry out mining, which problems they face. The first, of course, we have talked about people can die when these mines collapse. Then the other one we are saying there is poor transport network. That is when it comes to transporting the mineral mined to other areas. Number 3, we talk about the low quality of the minerals mined. Sometimes you'll find that the minerals mined are of poor quality, which means they cannot bring good money to those people, and this becomes a problem. And then the other problem is what we call a shortage of machinery. Sometimes you'll find the machines that are needed to extract this mineral are not there. And then apart from the shortage of machinery, we also have a shortage of skilled labor. We already talked about skilled labor. We said in most of the African countries, skilled labor is a problem. So you'll find there are no people to operate the machinery or to have that idea of mining. Now this makes the African countries to fail exploiting their resources. What we mean is they will now fail to get what they were meant to mine or to get from the underground, that is that mineral. And then also we have the poor prices of the minerals mined. This brings what we call price fluctuation. Prices are not constant. They keep on going up and up, down. So the prices are not all that stable. It becomes also another problem that these people are facing. Then we have a problem of shortage of capital. Capital, that is now the money that they need to invest in the mining activity. This is a problem, and it makes the mining industry not to go on well. Our page 5 gives us the mining, the mineral deposits in East Africa and their uses. We have the gold and its uses. We have gold for making jewelry, ornaments, artificial teeth, coins, and then we have medals and trophies. I had already talked about this. We have it from the Geita, Ragold, and then we have Karamoja for us in Uganda. Karamoja, that is the northeastern part of Uganda. We have soda ash, which is used for making glasses, mined from Lake Magadi. And then, of course, this is in Kenya. And then we have phosphates for making artificial fertilizers, mined from Tororo, that is in eastern Uganda. We have salt, that for us we use, which is mined for us in Uganda, that is from Lake Katwe. Remember, we say the salt is an example of a non-metallic mineral. We say it does not require a lot of heating. It just requires simple heating for it to melt. Of course, we have the uses of salt. We have salt used for human consumption. We eat it, we put it in our sauce, and we take it. And then also we have salt being used for preserving, like preserving food, preserving hides and skins. All those ones are the uses of salt. And then we have diamonds for making jewelry, metal cutters from Shinyanga region. Then we have limestone used for making cement. We have already talked about limestone. And we say it is mined. We have it in Hima, we have it in Tororo, that is still in eastern Uganda. Then we have also in Mombasa. We have oil that we have said crude oil can be used for making petroleum products like petrol itself, diesel, cosmetics, plastics, and this we say it's discovered, or it is in the Albertine region. That's what we call in our books. We have it there as around Lake Albert Basin. That is what we termed as Albertine region. So do not forget such things that we have already discussed. The next we have is wolfram, which is used for cutting, for making cutting tools, rock drills, etc. We have it at Kavala, Mwanza, and then at Bukowa. Then finally we have graphite used for making pencils, which we get from Acholi, and from that you will be having the activity on that page 5 that you will be answering later on. You will use the very knowledge you have got for you to answer that. Next we are going to look at is about the climate that is on page 6. We are looking at the climate as an economic resource. How do we use climate? We are now on climate. We shall be moving slowly till we reach animals, shall reach vegetation. We shall talk about water bodies. We shall talk about air. We are done with minerals. We are done with land. We are done with human labor. We are now going to climate. In primary 5, we defined climate as the average weather condition of a place recorded for a long period. Of course, we need to remember that. And mainly, when we talk about climate, we say climate has got two main aspects. One, we are going to climate, that is at the subheading. And I have said a climate has got the two main aspects, that is rainfall, and then we also had temperature. In case you had forgotten, please, I want you to remember it again now. So these are the two main aspects of climate, and we said in the two, it is rainfall which is the major one, because in rainfall we find temperature, which means temperature is a child under rainfall. So those are the two aspects that we have for climate. Now, here we are going to be looking at how is climate, or how do people benefit from climate? How do people use climate? Of course, like we have said, climate, we are looking at the rainfall and temperature, which means we are now going to base on the importance of rain, of rainfall. Remember, this is where we can get the water to help the crops to grow well, and a lot of factors. It now provides water that can fill in the water bodies that can be used for other commercial activities like irrigation farming. So all those things come in because of the rainfall, which is under climate. So that is how climate is good. Climate also deals with the sunshine, which we shall be looking at the importance of the sun, because it's part of climate that is under temperature. We shall be having the sun being used for, first of all, providing us with the light. That is one. We can use it for drying our seeds, our clothes. We said Uganda is close by the equator. At the same time, we can use the sunlight. We can get vitamin D from it. Remember that science part of it. So all these are the importance of the sun. And of course, when we talk about rainfall, we shall find that it promotes what we call farming. As I say, it brings, as the rain pours, it helps the crops to grow well. This helps in promoting farming. Next and lastly, for now, we shall be looking at the water bodies. And when we talk about water bodies, of course, we look at things like lakes, rivers, swamps, streams, oceans, in case we have them. Of course, for us in Uganda, we have we border those oceans. We border in the west. We have the Atlantic Ocean. In the east, we have that Indian Ocean. In the northeast, we have the Red Sea there. In the north, we have that Mediterranean Sea. So you will find that we are bordered by those oceans, and then we are surrounded by those oceans. And then we shall also realize that we have a number of lakes and rivers in Africa, right away from our country, Uganda. When we were looking at Uganda in primary 5, we realized that Uganda is rich in physical features. Uganda has, I'm talking about lakes and rivers in particular. We talked about the different lakes and the different rivers we have. Of course, don't forget that we are having Lake Victoria in Uganda, which is our very largest in Africa. And then at the same time, we have River Nile, which is our longest river in Africa. And the good news is that it's not only the longest in Africa, but in the whole world, it is the longest river. So such things are the ones that we are going to be looking at in this page that is under water bodies as resource. So we shall be now looking at what do we use water bodies for. my friend, here we have a number of uses or advantages of these water bodies. One, we say that water bodies can be fishing grounds, meaning they are areas where we can go and we carry out fishing from. Not enough, we shall have water as we have called them water bodies, meaning they are sources of water, of which water we can use for both domestic and industrial use. When I talk about domestic use, I mean being used at home, like for bathing, for cooking, for washing. All those are domestic uses. Then being used for industrial use, I'm talking about it being used to cool engines in the industries. And also, these water bodies can provide water which can be channeled to drier areas. Of course, now there I'm talking about irrigation farming. I believe I'm talking about things that we already learned in the previous classes. So this is another importance of lakes and rivers. Second or thirdly, we have rivers and lakes promoting what we call transport. And of course, this very transport, you need to be specific. That is water transport. So you can simply say lakes and rivers provide water transport. However, we said that in the previous classes that some rivers are not well developed for water transport. They are not good for water transport due to the reasons that we gave. They have waterfalls, they have fast flowing water. Then others have got water rapids. We said others are shallow, and then others have got the floating vegetation on them. That is what we call SADs. And then also we have SADs. This is what I mean. And then also we say some rivers have got rocks underneath. They have rocks on them, which sometimes maybe as you are sailing or you are rowing your boat, it knocks the rock and can capsize, and an accident can be realized in such an area. So those are the ones that make sometimes water transport not to be possible in some rivers. However, to others and the lakes, it's fine. Then we also have other importance of water bodies, like helping in rain formation. Of course, this is what we talked about right away from primary 3. We will look at this importance of lakes and rivers. They help in the formation of rain, and that is what we call convectional rainfall. And then also we shall be able to note that these very lakes, some of these lakes provide us with minerals. For example, we talk about Lake Katwe providing us with salt. Lake Magadi is also there, giving us soda ash. That we said is used for making glasses. We shall be having some lakes or lakes and rivers promoting tourism, meaning they can attract tourists who bring income to the countries in Africa. So that also becomes another. And then what we are also to mention is, this one is always common on rivers. We shall say that some rivers have got waterfalls where electricity can be generated, and of course this is what we call hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric, that is what we are meaning, electric power. So it's because of these rivers that we get these stations, these power stations built on them, which are used to generate that electricity. An example is, for us in Uganda, we say that most of our electricity that we use is generated from that fast flowing water. And of course, that is most of those dams and waterfalls are built along River Nile. That is where we get our hydroelectricity. I'm sure even right now you are watching me and you are using power, which is hydroelectric power. Then we go to the last on that page, that is about wild animals. Here we are specifically looking at wild animals, but we shall be able to note that not only wild animals, but even those that are at home are also useful to us. They are also resources. Remember when we were beginning, we said the resource is anything in the environment that man uses to satisfy his needs. You can use even the animals which are at home. How? You can cut them and you get your food. That is 1. 2, they can give you milk that you can drink. 3, they can be used for transport. We have those animals that we keep, the oxen, we have the horses, the camels, the donkeys, all those animals are domestic and they can provide water transport. So they can help you to move from one place to another, or moving your goods from one place to another. That is satisfying your needs. You are using it to help you. Then when we go to the wild animals, of course now we are looking at the ones that live in the forest or in the bushes. Here now we look at game park conservation. Remember we say those animals are gazetted in game parks, and these game parks now are the ones which attract tourists. Tourists go and visit them and they pay money to the government. And at the same time, these game parks also can provide employment opportunity to the people. We have people like the game rangers, we have people like the game wardens, and these are people who are looking after the welfare of the animals. And then we have the game rangers providing security, that is protecting these animals from the poachers. Poachers, I believe, as a candidate, you know now what we are meaning. We are talking about people who go to the game parks to kill those animals illegally. That is, those are the ones we call poachers. So that is what we mean by the wild animals. And then alongside wild animals, we have also other wildlife like plants in their natural habitat. We have insects in their natural habitats. All those things form what we call wildlife. For that, we shall have come to the end of our page 6. And finally, I want us to complete page 7, then we can have a rest from there. Page 7 gives us vegetation. It gives us vegetation in general, whereby we are looking at the grass as an economic activity. Not only the grass, but as I've said, vegetation in general. So now, we shall be asking ourselves, how do we use vegetation to meet our needs? First and foremost, we can eat vegetation to meet our needs. We have the vegetation, we have those vegetables that we eat at home. We have those cowpeas, we have those skumawik, we have cabbages, we have all sorts of, there are very many vegetables that we eat. Nakati may not be able to mention all of them. I might even be talking right now, you are busy with the plate having some, and for you do not understand that those things help us to meet our needs. When we are hungry, we eat them, we become satisfied. That is what we look at as a resource. Anything in the environment that we use to satisfy our needs. What did you want? And you have it, you do it, you are now okay. You are hungry, you have got the vegetables, you have eaten, you are satisfied, you are now okay. So that is what we are looking at here. We have resource distribution. Before that, we still have the vegetation. When we cross to living alone the other vegetables, we now come to vegetation like forests. When we come to forests, we shall also be able to note that forests provide us with a lot of things. One, we have timber, we have firewood that we can use for cooking. We shall have herbal medicine. We shall also have wild fruits from these forests. And also don't forget that these very forests can also help us in rain formation. That is convectional rainfall still. And all these are the importance of that vegetation to us. This vegetation acts as a habitat for these wild animals that we can go and hunt for food or as food. So those ones are all the ways we can use vegetation to satisfy our needs. And from that, we shall be having the resource distribution, whereby we are looking at how resources are spread in the different parts of an area. And of course, this is in relation to the population. Those are the people who are in that area. You will find that some areas have a lot of resources, some areas have a few. And sometimes what makes some areas to have a few is because they have a lot of people. And you remember, when we talk about people in primary 5, we talk population. That means the number of people is equal to the resources available. Remember, if the resources are too much and people are few, then the resources will not be utilized. And again, if the people are too many and the resources are few, you will find that the people will be able to exhaust or to finish up the resources very fast, and therefore resources will not be enough to all those people in that area. Dear viewer, we end our lesson there, and I thank you for being part of it. Hope to see you again in the next lesson. Goodbye.